This is Abnormal Entertainment.
I am a real American, fight for the rights of every man. I am a real American, fight for what's right, fight for your life.
You're listening to the No Cry Zone, a progressive political podcast on the Abnormal Entertainment Network.
Solidarity with Israel. Ding, ding, ding.
Sorry. You guys thought that was an odd idea. I won't do that then. I'll just push them up.
Well, we are recording. Welcome to the No Cry Zone with John and Rob. And the odd idea Rob is cackling about is while we're recording the podcast, he had a sweatshirt, or a long sleeve shirt on that he was going to turn into a short sleeve shirt as we spoke.
And the shirt that you're wearing, mind you. I mean, if I could, one thing to have a shirt that you're going to alter.
You guys remember Kirk Gibson?
While you're wearing it.
Kirk Gibson taught me how to do it. It's not that he didn't get it straight or anything. It's a look that you have to go for.
Anyone that follows the Kirk Gibson method is probably not fit for much. Not even Kirk Gibson.
He always got the sleeves even though, and that's why you do it while it's on you.
How can you guarantee that you get it even while it's on you?
It seems like it would be less of a guarantee.
No, it's because it's hanging on your body, and you're not trying to figure out where that shoulder is or where the elbow goes. Or it's on you. You got it. What? It's right there.
We're done for the week.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, we're in the measure once, cut 7 times land right now, as opposed to measure 3 times, cut once.
Is that how that goes?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Shit. Been doing that wrong.
Well, hey, don't change.
There's always tomorrow.
Don't
right?
change your spots. That's okay. Speaking of not changing spots, nothing happening again. Just the same old treasonous collusion that's been going on for a while.
It has turned a corner.
It turned a big corner.
You know,
blatant.
I think for some observers, they go, it's the same old, shit show. Outrage machine, but it really did turn a corner in this last week.
Yeah, well, there's a couple of remember when we always say that it never hits conservatives until it hits conservatives. Well, your president just sided with Russia. It could have been France, it could have been England, it could have been anybody.
Right.
That he sided with a foreign power.
But Hillary,
but even worse than that, because he's been siding with Russia all along.
But
standing next to him and then being obsequious as he does it. I mean, just fawning over Putin. Oh my God! And then when he's called to task for it, then go, I did talk tough to him and no one heard. No one heard me talk, but I did talk tough to him, but no one heard. And then, 10 minutes later, going, I don't think Russia did anything. And you're like, what the fuck?
It's been flip-flop-a-palooza.
Yeah.
Just whoever he's talking to. So this is a guy hanging in the wind right now. He is hanging in the wind like, that's what I meant. Oh, no, I meant that too. Oh, yeah, I meant that.
And really, this is a product of... Because, again, his attitude towards Putin, we've already known this attitude. That isn't different. What has changed, or not changed, but what has caused this change is, again, this is a guy who doesn't prepare, doesn't think he has to prepare, thinks he's the smartest guy in the room when he is not, and he goes into these things thinking, I'll handle it, and then I think he's bulldozed by these guys who do prepare and know exactly what they're doing.
Oh yeah, anyone who in the upper echelons of the KGB during the Cold War is going to outthink your dumbass Trump.
Yeah,
it was his job.
You mean the higher levels of intelligence? I don't know if he tweeted that out.
Didn't you see that the higher levels of intelligence enjoyed his performance?
Yeah, the higher levels of intelligence.
Yes, those aliens. See, the aliens. So I talked to Space Force.
Oh,
Space Force is in contact with the alien overlords. Loved your performance, Trump.
Right.
Loved it. Thought you did a really good job sowing the seeds of discontent to make us all into meals eventually for the aliens.
Right.
And they're going to send a cape and a helmet soon. A nice black cape and
we can hope
black helmet for him.
What we need now is
the new Darth.
We need Flash Gordon. That's who we need. That's you, Rob. You're the new Flash Gordon.
Flash!
I saw a great comic strip where there was this interstellar bar, and they were having a karaoke night, and they had it wasn't Flash. It was supposed to be Flash Gordon. There's no copyright infringement, but he was singing "Me, I saved the universe," which was pretty. I thought it was pretty funny.
And really, John, if you haven't been following along, if you tune out politics, you're right. I mean, to a casual observer, this was just another meeting.
Same old shit show.
The memes came out immediately from the Russian bots, with all the other presidents, chuckling and laughing with Putin. It's a little bit different in this case.
The better memes that came out were the "I spoke to" memes.
Yeah.
Captain America, I spoke to Thanos. He didn't mean it.
He didn't mean it.
Right.
Jesus, I spoke to Judas. He said he didn't do it.
My favorite, being a Beatle fan, I saw one was John Lennon. He said, "I meant to say Norwegian wouldn't."
And the North Korean guy too. Oh, I didn't mean denuclear.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Oh gosh, the North Korea stuff—that's kind of swept under things.
No, that's all. That shit show's already. That's a shit show. 10 shit shows
We already
ago.
registered success on that one when they haven't followed through on anything.
Yeah.
Nuclear program still moving forward. Remains of U.S. soldiers still firmly in Pyongyang.
Right.
It's beautiful. Shit show.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to call this.
Shit show.
I saw them
He
touting
destroyed the universe?
At least they're not nuclear testing anymore, and the nuclear testing stopped because he blew up the fucking mountain.
Right.
He can't nuclear test anymore.
Because he nuclear tested his mountain away.
Yeah, exactly.
They did the test on submarines, though.
But see, once again, that little tidbit going out there, I've had that come back at me. I've heard people say that about North Korea as that's a good thing. They're not following along what's really happening with these world leaders,
No.
and the consolidation of power is changing, and it's Putin running the show. On the whole, I mean, now he's got the United States on his side, but he's got China on his side, he's got the United States, he's got our bad players,
Did you see what China
Iran.
just signed? China just signed a far-reaching trade deal with the European Union that we were going to be a part of.
And Japan,
TPP was going to be part of that.
Right. Well, they're signing their bilateral deals now.
Yeah.
I mean, TPP. I mean, again, you tried to say this, and they completely didn't understand it. The Trump people. I mean, Trump himself didn't get. TPP was a hedge against the Chinese. They were like, "Oh, this is going to empower the Chinese." No, it's not. It's a hedge against them. It's a defense against them. Once it was destroyed, the Chinese were like, "Excellent. Now we can make our bilateral deals."
You think I imagine every other world leader is Mr. Smithers sitting in his office every time Trump does something, just like, excellent.
Well, not our allies.
We have no allies.
Not anymore.
There are no allies. Just coming out against the European Union and Canada and Mexico, we're ally-less.
Canada, really?
Even like Mexico. How can you get mad at Mexico? I mean, drug cartels, we got awful people too.
Right.
But I mean, as a city-state, or a sovereign, God, I can't talk anymore.
And see, that was the role of the United States around the world, was to decide these things for our benefit.
Yeah, exactly.
Which ones we were going to go after, which ones are the hot spot of the year, which ones are causing us the most problems, got our soldiers, got our diplomats, got our people down there to control it down there. I keep saying that about immigration. You can fix immigration very easily. You go help them in their country. You go help them there, and they don't want to come here.
Right.
I mean, if you have a nice place to live and you have a life that you can make money and feed your family, you don't want to leave your country. But that's the problem, is around the world we have these despots like Putin, like North Korea, like Iran, like any of the craziness that goes on in Southeast Asia. All of those things are populist control for basically an authoritarian rule.
Right. But that's why for 30 years now, we've been listening to the right wing and the whack jobs belittle foreign aid. Any dollar that you spend, why do we give all this money to these countries, third world countries? And the thing is, it's been proven time and time again. every dollar that you spend in foreign aid in these countries, you're going to get $10 back or $100 in value back, doing exactly what you were saying, Rob. Make that it's easier to just spend the damn money and help out a country either economically, and these haven't always been rousing successes. There's been failures, but the effort, it's still worthwhile, again, to try and provide economic incentive, try and provide social advancement for these countries. Again, it's to our national defense.
Yeah.
And yet, these goobers, the only thing they think for national defense is you just got to have more missiles.
Yeah.
More missiles, more bombs, more nukes, we win, thank you. And you can't explain to them how it's in our interest, our defensive interest, to spend this money overseas, and that it's a wise investment. And they've been attacking the foreign aid budget, and now it's it's being absolutely zeroed out under Trump.
Right. How does Israel feel about that?
Well, when I say zeroed out, not for our good friends like Israel, which is a right wing and becoming increasingly farther and farther and farther to the right. In my view, I don't know. I mean, technically it's a democracy, but it is really an authoritarian regime. Mm-hmm. It really is.
Well, technically Russia's a democracy.
Exactly.
They vote.
Yeah.
Same way we vote now, apparently.
Well, but how much longer is that going to be real? You know what I mean? That right now is what's at stake with our president not coming to the aid of our democracy and our voting process, and making a stand on this, and allowing the public to at least believe something's happening, and that we care about your vote, and that we care about our democracy. Mm-hmm. But at every turn, he goes against our DOJ. He goes against our intelligence agencies. He goes against the advice of his own staff. His own people that he picked, he goes against the advice.
It's his own DOJ now.
So right. Oh, it's all his.
Yeah. So you have to wonder,
the only thing,
is this a man heavily in debt? That's what it seems like to me. This is a man heavily in debt. No matter where he goes, he's done these bad deals, and all the bad deals are just hanging by a thread. Somebody's going to be pissed off if Trump doesn't do this.
I mean, did you read the New York article from last week that made the case that he is a Russian asset since 1987? He first went to Russia in 1987. Almost immediately upon returning, he started talking politics. Yep. And he made his first run for politics in 1988.
Yep.
And it was a nothing run, and it was more of a laugh and a joke, and it was done real quick. But, I mean, that article, if you read it, it lays out a pretty interesting case that he's been a Russian asset. Not that he went over there and was a Manchurian candidate, somehow came back as a spy, but that they began to lure him in then. They began to entrap him financially. It wasn't like any political indoctrination, no, because he's immune to that.
It's probably more Manchurian candidate. The code word at the time was McDLT. Okay. And you said McDLT to him, he would just instantly go into Manchurian mode.
Start stabbing.
Hot side hot, cool side cool. Hot side hot, cool side cool.
Now, see, that kind of goes in with my theory. Is 87? Yeah. Is that what you said?
That's what the article said. It was the first time he went to Russia.
And that was when I first started hearing about that asshole. So that means he got money and he was able to start his business and get in the papers and do all
Well, he was big in the mid-'80s. The whole lifestyles of the rich and famous era in the mid...
That was his casinos.
That was his... He was big then. He was a celebrity.
Big.
But he was... Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was big in New York in the early 80s. And then towards the mid-'80s, literally, Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, that show started to prominently feature him, and that was when Trump Tower was getting built, and he more and
more in debt to American banks at that point.
Yeah, but then he had the failed casinos.
Then he started failing, and he had to branch out where he's getting his money from.
There's no explanation whatsoever other than he is somehow compromised by Russia. There's none other. There can be no other.
And this is why.
I mean, what's the Sherlock Holmes dictum? If you
it's elementary,
no, that was the phrase. If you eliminate all other possibilities, whatever is left, no matter how absurd, is the truth.
Yeah.
And I mean, really, everything else has pretty much been eliminated,
except for he's an alien.
Well, I'm sorry.
That could be absurd. That's absurd.
You know what?
But who would put it past him? Oh my gosh.
So he's compromised by Russia in some form, and the thing is that it's a mistake to think that it's some P tape. It's deeper than that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not that doesn't exist, mind you.
No, it's
but It's way deeper than that. It's way deeper.
Teacher's pet. I mean, that's what it is. He wants to be an oligarch. I mean, he sees how the oligarchs in Russia are being treated, and he wants in.
I think
really
he's been.
That's what it is.
I think they financially have entangled him. I mean, the banks bailed him out at a time when no one else was giving him money. Suddenly, banks that are connected to Russia and the Russian oligarchs are giving him money. I mean, the whole thing about his mansion, the mansion that he bought in Florida, and then he flipped it in 18 months and sold it for a huge markup at a time when the market was not, great. And this was a way of them making sure that he stayed afloat. So financially, but I think it may be deeper than that. I mean, I really do. He may have been passing on information.
I think it's probably all of the above.
Everyone thinks if you're a spy that somehow you have to be in the government, like a military or a government. No, believe me, good spy services cultivate people in all levels of a society.
Oh yeah, there's 25 Russian indictments right now of non-governmental.
So
spies.
who knows what he's been?
Redhead that was infiltrating the NRA. I mean, there's your perfect example.
Exactly.
Hottest really.
All right, whatever. But
remember, the Republican old white man.
They didn't send in Mrs. Doubtfire.
Well, you could have been holding.
They sent in a 20-year-old.
You could have been holding a gun in a bikini, and they're only looking at the gun.
Okay.
So,
but they're thinking, check out that gun.
Look at that gun. That hot chick's holding the gun. Just nice job, fellas.
But I mean, it's a perfect example of how the KGB works, and this is their whole motto around the world, has been since at least after World War II, that infiltrate, cause disruption. Infiltrate, cause disruption. How do you gain the respect of the world when you don't have the resources that the rest of the world has, or the populace that the rest of the world has, or the economy that the rest of the world has? Is you lower the rest of the world to your level, which is what they try and do.
Or you don't even care about respect, and you just go for fear.
They actually have a leg up. Because we can't trust our president, and we can't trust a whole party in our democratic system to do anything.
We said this before. If Trump had lost, it was still a successful Russian operation just by sowing the discord. Yep. If Trump is impeached tomorrow, it's a highly successful Russian operation. They have sowed discord in the American electorate that will last for decades.
So do you think that in 2020 they'll start backing the Democrats, the progressives, to sow even more discord?
Somebody mentioned that. They said it'd be interesting if somehow they flipped the script and suddenly all these if they suddenly started releasing information that really looked bad for the Republicans, and to do exactly what you just said. Exactly. So more discord.
Well, when their asset has been used up, why wouldn't they?
They don't care.
They don't care.
Yeah, I mean...
And that would actually be probably in Putin's long-term plan. He probably had it in mind. Oh, I'll get one on this side, and then in 10 years I'll make sure that I get one on the other side. And he's probably already working that person right now.
It's like Mission Impotent.
Yeah. Right. Well, I don't know if you saw the article that was in Wired. I posted it on the Facebook, on the No Cry Zone Facebook page. And it's headlined, What Robert Mueller Knows and 9 Areas He'll Pursue Next. Right. And if you read, it's really, really good when you read it, just to sort of summarize the investigation so far, and kind of like, these are the 9 areas in which we're heading. And when you read it, it's real interesting. The whole thing about Rosenstein is basically that, he's been eating shit for a year now. Under this president, and who would want to be, and you saw his testimony in front of Congress where these Republicans are just treating him like shit, and he was giving it right back. And you think, well, this is a guy that gives no fucks. But when you read this, you realize it's like, this is a guy that knows something they don't. And he sees Mueller and Rosenstein and others, they see the end game. And I've doubted this for a while, and now it's becoming, after this week especially, it's really becoming into focus that there is an end game.
There is.
And it's not going to end well for Trump and his associates.
It's not going to end well for any of us.
Well, that's true, too.
But most of all them, hopefully.
Yeah.
Now, see, I think this, we were talking last week that it needs to crash before everybody wakes up, and I didn't like that. I think this amount of transparency, if it does come out, and we actually get to hear the facts of this case, that would actually be our crash. Or we'd fight over that, rule of law would win over, people go to jail, democracy restored.
For the record, I didn't want the crash either that I predicted, but will this do it? Even if it comes, you got a picture of them sticking a knife in a baby and eating its entrails. Are they going to believe it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know what they. There's. I'm still where I was before. I really don't. I can't say that I don't care, but we have to just put that to the side and just move forward.
Yeah.
They must be ignored and defeated.
right. I think ignored is the big part.
Right.
Have to start ignoring them.
Yeah, just ignore them.
Someone comments, don't comment back.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's hard
You
for
know,
some people.
I'm sorry, but your friend Kevin has really been a bad influence.
Our
on me.
friend Kevin
Yeah.
has been a bad
Good point. Sorry.
has been a bad influence on you. So, but you two are you're each other's red meat. That's the sad part about it.
I found myself getting in on a conversation I had no part of whatsoever and
Nope.
being a complete douchebag to somebody
Yep.
that I didn't know nor had any reason to.
You two should be buying art for your cabin up north. Is how it's working.
I came away quite energized, which is sad. But that's besides the point. But you're right.
We can't. Giving them the time of day validates
it really
their
is.
opinion.
Yeah, their opinion is worthless, and not worry about it. And again, I worry that when the Democrats, if and when the Democrats take power or control again, if and when, that they're not going to do that. That they're going to still try and play this. Oh well, let's all work together, fellas. Nah, fuck that shit.
Maybe not.
Take the reins of power and use them.
Maybe not. What are you gonna do then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Exactly. So what we got to do is just be the ball. You are the
No.
exactly. You are the role model. You lead by example.
All right.
Oh, hopefully. Maybe that might work. I don't know. Because here's this thing. If all the Trumpers who are touting all the great things sees that a bunch of progressives are having really good lives that they're happy with and they're successful, then they'll be like, well, that's not fair. What do they know? They're all stupid. Libtards are stupid. And it'll completely fall apart at that point. But if the more we cry and scream and wring our hands
Yes.
in outrage, it's like, oh, look there, look, snowflakes.
Well, we do have a very big crisis, and somebody needs to be screaming about that. But that
Not
doesn't.
screaming. We need to be talking about it logically and then just putting it out there.
And another section of us should be talking about the future plan once.
We should all be talking about the
Yeah.
future plans.
So,
And these are all logical things to be talking
Yeah.
about. But crying in anguish over every offense just goes to bolster a point that, they're needy. We're needy little bitches.
and it's to go back to John's Facebook rants, that is something that they do. I mean, they make shit up just to get people upset,
Right.
just to see you get your blood pressure rise. So, yes, you do have to ignore some of it. I think ideally we should be getting our news not from these social sites. Period.
Well, no, and we don't.
Yes.
So they do. That's on them.
Yeah.
Do what thou wilt. Free country.
Yeah.
You're free to be an asshole because that's what you decided. What we do is completely different. You can engage, but just ignore the rhetoric.
Yeah.
Ignore it. It's really hard to ignore it because if something is just blatantly false, you're going to want to point it out. Like, oh no, look at this, look at this, look at this. Facts don't work. We know this.
Yeah.
Just ignore it.
Yeah.
Whatever. You're done. I'm done talking to you.
Right.
And they'll post, and you'll not. They'll post again, and you won't. And have your fun being the redundancy of them getting upset that you're not.
Right. I guess maybe in a one way, the methadone to that heroin is I'm now part of like several private Facebook groups of like-minded folk where
You found your pride.
Yeah,
Pride alliance.
where you within the confines of this safe space, if you will, completely unload ourselves.
Oh yeah. Good.
To relieve that, because you just see that shit day after day. And you're like,
You guys
what
remember the end of Nightmare on Elm Street? Where they couldn't defeat Freddy Krueger?
Right.
They couldn't until she figured out, I gave you all your power. I turned my back on you.
Right.
And that's when he was defeated? Mm-hmm. We got to turn our back and stop giving them power.
Wow.
It's kind of like an anti-bullying video right there.
Right, it is. Unless you turn around and they punch you in the back of the head, which is a horrible, awful thing.
Which they probably would.
And then turn around and exact vengeance. But no one's being punched in the head yet.
Right.
Let's just stop giving them their power.
Right.
Their power comes from pissing us off.
Right.
All of it. 100% of it. It doesn't come from Trump. They have no power. Trump is powerless. As a social force.
Exactly. I mean, I was saying this to somebody else the other day, that the thing about Trump is he has no moral base. If his path to power would have been, say, the Bernie Sanders route, if he could, he would be for free health care and free education. If he could have charted a path that would have taken him to power, however he saw it, he'd take it. No problem. He'd switch tomorrow.
Yeah.
If he thought that was a practical way to achieve.
But the overlords needed him to go through Obama, so that's why we started with the Kenya thing, way back in the day.
Well, that's an interesting thing, because the whole thing about Obama was, here he got rescued by the Celebrity Apprentice TV show.
Yep.
I mean, he was doing McDLT commercials and shit, and he was fading into nothingness. And they rescued him as a joke. I mean, we've heard the producers talk now that the whole thing was a fucking joke. That they purposely put him in this ultra, powerful role, because it was such a joke that Donald Trump was this great executive, because to them at least, they could see what a buffoon he was, and they thought the rest of America would. They completely overestimated the rest of America.
This is the rest of America that thinks Big Brother is actually real.
Right, exactly. So, that's the mid-2000s, and then towards the late 2000s, when Twitter starts to come along, he found his, muse through Twitter, and the whole thing about the whole birther controversy was his. He started saying some things on that. I mean, look, we know he has a whole lineage of basic racist ideology. I mean, from the time him and his father were excluding black tenants from their development in the early 70s to his basically cry for bloodlust for the Central Park Five, even after they were proven to be innocent,
right?
By DNA. Nope, still kill him.
No one remembers that one.
Right, so his racism is long, acknowledged and detailed. But he started playing with that birther thing and saw, wow, there's quite an audience for this shit, and they respond. And it was just around the time that most of the mainstream Republicans, they had flirted with it, and then they kind of were like, okay, we can see this isn't really going anywhere. We'll let it go. Not that the mainstream part of the GOP started to walk away from it. And he picked it up and led and he saw that fringe element. I mean, I think that combination sort of propelled him forward, that he saw this path. I don't know.
That and just everybody on that side just making shit up.
Well, right. I mean, I think he saw that this was going to work for him.
Yeah.
That was his path. Like I said before, if the circumstances had been different, and somehow his path was, if I advocate for free community college and free health care, and I'm in his audience, somehow he'd do it. He would do it in a heartbeat. The man has no moral base whatsoever. And he doesn't have an original thought in his head either, except, I'm hungry.
That's not original. I think that.
Yeah, okay, that's true. I'm thinking it right now.
I want 7 Big Macs. That's original.
Right.
Because I've never said that. Ever.
Right.
I don't think, even at the height of my portliness, I don't think I've ever considered the 7.
Oy.
The magic 7.
Yeah.
Six was enough.
I think I did 3 in high school. But I was I had a metabolism and stuff then. Not like now.
Yeah.
And that's when they were made from real beef in the 80s.
Not red meat for the slime, pink slime.
Fucking Trump. So, not to talk about Trump, do you guys see the Thank You Rick commercials?
Snyder?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
There's the Thank You Rick. That's the Victory Lap Rick Snyder commercials.
Oh my God.
I'm like, oh my God. All I got to do is kill a bunch of children and I get a Victory Lab commercial?
Hey,
Line up!
Come on, be fair and be accurate. Black children. All right? That's your path if you're Rick Snyder.
I'll do, okay.
Adversely affect a group of African American and minority children. And then you can take your victory lap. If he had poisoned kids in Bloomfield Hills, well, no. He'd be impeached by now.
I got to tell you guys, October 1st, there is a charity comic book benefiting the Flint water services and stuff, and the things that SourcePoint Press, our publisher, is putting out. It's called Hope, and it was put together by Flint residents, Genesee County residents.
Oh,
and it's there's going to be a free concert where, well, that's free. It's a $10 donation to get into the concert, and you can get the comic when you go to the concert, or you can just order it, and all the proceeds are going to benefit water rescue in Flint.
That's very cool.
Yeah, well, I'll put a link on the Facebook page.
Please do.
Please do. Yeah.
All right.
Well, do you know where Genesee?
Where the concert will be?
Where's the thing?
I will find out.
Okay.
Somewhere near Flint.
Well, I would assume. So Rick Snyder taking a victory lap, which tells you the current state of our politics, and on a lesser scale here in Michigan, I mean, I think the people that the same folks that are go Trump were also the ones that didn't want to acknowledge that there was any problem in Flint and tried to blame it on, it's the Democrats' fault. It's the mayor's, that denial, that left is right, up is down view of the world that has propelled, the Republicans forward. I don't know.
And this happens in power.
Yeah.
I mean, absolute power corrupts absolutely. I mean, that's what democracy is supposed to guard against. Is we're supposed to have these things in place to ward against corruption from all sorts of different avenues.
Right.
Right now, I think our biggest source of corruption is corporate, and trying to make the laws beneficial to them, not some big conspiracy theory. But that has gone on so long now that it is finally showing its ugly head of what decades of that gets you. It gets you no infrastructure. It gets you cities that go under and have to be taken over by emergency managers. It gets you the city of Detroit going bankrupt.
It was 5 years ago today, by the way.
And that's the type of thing that we're watching. Is that's the real crumbling of America. I don't know if you guys, I didn't catch all of it, but Bernie did a CEO versus worker town hall.
He's still talking, Bernie.
And, well,
Yeah, I know.
The interesting thing here was it was the saddest, awfulest stories of people in their jobs, and it's just corporations have now reduced their workers to cattle. I mean, it's a revolving door. Go faster, go faster, go faster. The computer says you can go faster, so you go faster. If you can't go faster, you go away, and we'll get another person that can go faster. And every avenue that these people were talking from, that was the common storyline. So that is the crumbling of America, the crumbling of our transparency laws and ethic laws, and
That's a big part of it.
watchdogs that will actually do something, and judges that will actually do something. All of this has been corrupted all up and down the line, and the only way, I feel, is for people to go to jail, and the only way to get the current people to jail is to take power. But when you take power, you have to go backwards. In order to make this right, you have to go backwards and investigate the last administration, your Democratic investigation. I often say there should be, after every president, there should be a fucking investigation of what went on. Here is the public record. Here are the things we can release in whatever amount of time once these situations have calmed down and we can release more. We'll release more. But we don't get that. We don't hear that from the news. We don't hear anything about the previous. So it goes to this, right now, if you say anything about Trump and the Russians or whatever, you immediately get a, what about Hillary? What about Obama? What about? And that's the other side. They might have claims that we're not seeing as well. So I do think that every presidency, every administration should have a full-blown investigation, and every department should have a full-blown audit every 4 years. I just don't think that's too much to ask to make this thing work,
Well, before that starts, we got to actually staff the government again. Let's get to that point first.
Well,
Well, look,
It's amazing. There's plenty. I mean, there really is. I mean, think of the Pentagon. I mean, there are.
With the Pentagon investigating? Oh my gosh. There wasn't enough funding for the military,
Yeah.
we found. Like, what? No, that's not how this works.
well, look, I would be all for that. Of course, that can't happen until we get the fucking money out of politics. I mean, and because that's what's blocking it.
Mm-hmm.
So even something like auditing the military or auditing any governmental department in a true public fashion. I mean, technically, those things exist. I mean, there is the government accounting office that does these things, but it's so influenced by the political spheres of power that it really isn't. And so, until we can get the money out of politics. And I mean, look, here in Michigan, we, at this point, as we record, have on the ballot in November a redistricting, proposal that would create an independent commission so that gerrymandering, so this kind of even going back a step beyond that. Mm-hmm. If you want to get the cash out of politics, you got to get rid of the gerrymandering. Yeah. Because then you can get people in Congress and in the state legislatures that actually represent their constituents and not corporate interests. And they can change the laws so that you can start to limit the cash in politics. So we have this redistricting proposal on the ballot in Michigan. Just yesterday, they got 425,000 signatures in a short amount of time. Very short amount of time. That's how popular this was. People are like, hell yeah, let me sign that. And they got it on the ballot. Yesterday it went before the state Supreme Court because, of course, it's being challenged by the corporate moneyed interest. They don't want that shit on there because they know it'll pass. They damn well know it'll pass. And so they're challenging on a technicality. And the Supreme Court here in Michigan heard the arguments yesterday. We'll see. It'll be interesting. They're going to have to rule on it fairly shortly, in a couple weeks. And my guess is they're going to toss it off the ballot because the Supreme Court here in Michigan, even though they're nonpartisan justices, they're sponsored by the political parties, which means they're not nonpartisan.
Right.
And there's a Republican lock on that court. So they're going to... I'll be shocked if they let it go to the ballot in November. And so this is one of those instances where all those people that went and signed that petition and felt like, I'm doing something to make a positive change. Here's my little thing I can do. Yep, I agree that we should choose our representatives. They should not choose us. And they look at these district shapes and they go, come on, you can see this is fucked up. And so here you have this participatory process, and it's, again, going to get shut down. Yeah. And when it does, I just wonder what people will do. Probably not anything.
They probably won't even hear about it.
Right. I mean,
they won't even...
But... where do you turn? Where does the corner turn? We said before about, a corner had turned in terms of the Trump investigation, which I think is true. I do think there's an end in sight. I think Mueller, I thought it was interesting, those indictments you mentioned of the 12 military members of the Russian military that were indicted on Friday. I mean, that came down, that was not a coincidence. That it's as Trump is out of the country on his way to Russia,
right?
That came down the way it did, and the fact that Rosenstein and that article that I posted before from Wired talks about that. Like, Rosenstein mostly lets other people make these announcements. So this one, he's like, "Oh no, I'll make this one," and because
the timing,
because of the timing of it, and the fact that those indictments made a definitive link now between the Russian government, the Russian military, which is Putin, directly to the Trump campaign through Roger Stone. Yeah. I mean, Roger Stone acknowledged that he had a conversation online with this Guccifer 2.0, the one that was doing all the hacking. So you have a definitive link now. It's just no longer beyond any doubt. Not that
in 9 hours when Trump's on a plane where you can't tweet about it.
Exactly. I mean, that timing was impeccable. And then, after the Helsinki summit, after that shit show, which they couldn't know for a fact what was going to happen, but they kind of knew what was going to happen.
Throw the dice on
and then they go, Russian spy connected to the NRA. Bam! There you go. And they roll that out. And it really just cements in my mind that they've really got this timelined out. Because I think we get the impression that, you know, Mueller's working late nights, got the green eye shade on, going through the papers, I gotta get a case together. He's all panicked. Oh my God! And I'm like, no, I think it's pretty calm. I think he gets to bed pretty early.
Yeah, this is much less A Few Good Men and more Matlock.
Goes home, has dinner, watches Little Law and Order, hits the sack.
You know, this is a good one.
I think it's all laid out.
Yeah, Mueller and Comey and all those guys don't strike me as the type of people that walks into something blind.
And just a reminder, all of them Republicans.
Yes, yeah.
All of them.
Every single one.
Deep State!
Our truest patriots are those three men, I really believe.
Right now, yeah. When
And
John
Ray.
McCain's not pandering, he's one too.
And Christopher Wray. I was worried about Christopher Wray coming in, and he stood
the
up.
FBI director,
Yeah,
right?
he stood up, too.
Right. Well, and Dan Coates. Dan Coates is the director of national intelligence. I mean, this guy, Dan Coates is a fucking lunatic, okay? If anyone remembers Dan Coates, when he was a congressman in Indiana, he was the guy that during the whole Vince Foster thing, he did a thing he had a bunch of reporters come and he shot watermelons to sort of demonstrate the angle of the bullet and the Vince Foster, I mean, Dan Coates is a fucking lunatic, all right? Right-wing fucking nut job, if there ever was one. He's the director of national intelligence, and even he was like, yeah, no, the Russians fucking did it, okay? I mean, he came out and said that shit again on Monday. I mean, that was a double slam on Monday because hours before he met with Putin, Trump met with Putin, Coates came out with his statement, which was pretty clear. I mean, and like I said, Dan Coates, right-wing nut job, even goes, no. And then Trump has his moment with Putin. Of course, the world goes fucking apeshit, and then later that day they go, oh, by the way, here's a Russian spy. I mean,
that was in the NRA.
That has connections to the NRA.
Yeah.
Definitive
Funding
connections.
a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so timing is probably going to be crucial. They might be waiting on the case until 4 years are up, but I don't think that's...
Well, if we don't... I mean, I read or heard somewhere, and it made sense, in knowing Mueller, because he's such a principled guy, if the big case doesn't roll out by late September, it will wait till after the election. He's not going to do it that close to the election. That he's either going to be ready to roll, here's the whole fucking thing, and he's going to roll it out, 6 weeks before the election, at least, or he's going to say, we're going to wait till after the election and then roll it out.
But Mueller just asked for, what do you call it? Not clemency, not asylum. What is it when you're held blameless?
Immunity?
Immunity.
Yeah.
Just asked for immunity for 5 people, unnamed people, in regard to Manafort. Do you think we know what those names are? I mean, if they ever announce those names, do you think we've heard of these people?
Yes.
Who do you think?
I think one of them may be Carter Page.
Yeah.
I think Carter Page is going to get immunity. I think Michael Cohen, is someone that strikes me as,
Who's it?
I'll give you the goods, I ain't going down for this shit.
He's been talking about it, too.
You
Like,
know.
no, I'm going to do what's for my family.
Yeah. So I think Cohen for sure.
Isn't that Squirrely Nunberg his assistant? Isn't that...
Is Cohen's assistant?
Manafort's.
Manafort's.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he came out. He was just in a panic. He's talking like a songbird right now.
Now, Manafort may be one of them, too. I mean, Manafort is facing the rest of... He's 68 years old. He's facing the rest of his life in prison already on charges that have really nothing to do with the Russian collusion with the Trump campaign, have everything to do with his money laundering with Ukrainians prior to him joining the Trump campaign. They got him dead to rights on that.
Yeah.
He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison, so what the fuck does he have to lose?
Right.
He could be someone that can say, now, if he has it, I don't know, but if he has, the golden gun, he could be someone else that could be like, we'll let you free, Grasshopper.
Yeah.
If you deliver.
You think Flynn's on that list?
Flynn could be one for sure.
Yeah.
He's another one. Oh, and I just saw Flynn, they just announced Flynn is going to be joining a consulting group in January, and it was in that Wired article. Some consulting group announced Michael Flynn is going to be joining them in January, and they're like, that's not something you do if you think you're going to prison. Mm-hmm. You do that if you pretty much know you're going to be good.
Yeah, they're not going to hire you either.
Right,
they
exactly.
think you're going to go to prison.
They certainly wouldn't announce it.
We've just hired Michael Flynn for about 7 weeks.
I like the article's use of the four-corner analogy. Is he threw out a big net? He's stapling down the four corners right now, and he's scooping everybody into the middle.
And the guys in the middle, they don't know what's going on the edges until it gets crowded there in the middle. Hey, everyone's getting real close. What's going on?
This is the Star Wars trash compactor analogy.
I like it. Yeah.
And no one's calling C-3PO to open up that airlock.
No.
And now
Shut down the trash compactors on the prison level. Shut down the trash compactors on the prison level.
You know who they get? They get the mooch up there.
Shut down the compactors on the prison. Oh God. Oh God. We're all gonna die. I love you. I know. Oh God.
I've always loved you, Donald.
Now, what about that press secretary, the woman who was
Sarah Sanders?
No. She was a
Paige.
Hope Hicks.
She was about Hope Hicks.
Hope Hicks.
Yeah, there's so many, you know.
Yeah, she's got to know.
Oh,
a lot.
she's gonna flip.
Yeah, she's got to know a lot, and Mueller's got to have pressure on her because she knows Trump isn't going to protect her.
Oh no, he's already
She
disavowed
might get
her.
a pardon, but not before.
No,
she has to
you
go
only
through-
pardon high-profile
go through the
people like
gauntlet.
Joe Arpaio and Muhammad Ali.
Right.
Oh, who was the latest one? Oh, those idiots out in Idaho. The
Well,
bunnies.
and speaking of pardoning, the state attorney general in New York, that office is moving forward on the Trump Foundation, the charity violations. These are unpardonable crimes, again, that could send you to prison. And those are the things that are going to, those are the things you're going to get Ivanka and Don Jr. on.
And Jared.
And Jared, exactly. On those things, because he would pardon those guys. He would, Trump would pardon, his
He's already
children.
got those drafted.
Right? They were before he even got there.
I've been pardoning them their whole lives.
He went to LegalZoom.com and
I wouldn't doubt it. What's my password for LegalZoom? I forgot. Big Mac, Yummy. Big Mac, Yummy.
no, that's not it. Oh, I got to capitalize.
Big Mac's a proper name.
Gotta respect. So again, talk about that net closing, and that's a whole different net.
That's all. Yeah,
that's a whole freaking different.
That's not even
net.
a Mueller net. That's like
Yeah.
people in New York are just pissed.
Like
you guys, you've been raping New York for years.
that's the backup net. Because if again Trump has that power, the Congress, the Republican-controlled Congress, they've shown no predilection to do anything.
No.
How outrageous he is. So if he was to, he could, issue a pardon against, for his kids. Those state charges. That's the backup plan. Well,
I'm absolutely
we got you there.
amazed about how much I agree with Trey Gowdy from time to time now. I don't even understand it.
Oh no! See, he's just part. He's part of the show. You
Oh,
watch
yeah,
him in that Strzok thing.
Oh,
and,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know, it's
Oh,
just,
I know.
Oh, he's totally part of the show.
And,
but
watching all of those things, the theatrics that go on, you have to sit there and wonder, what are these people on this side even thinking? Why are they doing this? Why are they all ganging up on our intelligence agency when there's obviously been crimes committed?
because the show has worked so far.
Yeah.
The show is about to stop working, though.
I hope.
Strzok did a really good performance.
Yeah.
His performance was better than theirs.
Right. Oh, yeah. Except it was interesting, if you, again, went on social media, all the Trumpsters thought, oh, Gowdy destroyed him. And I'm like, did you watch the same fucking hearing I watched?
Yeah.
They're just saying they have to say it.
They have to say it.
Yeah, they have to. It's
And
a
you even
worldview.
saw it on Gowdy's face that, oh shit, I opened that up for him.
I mean,
You
exactly.
know.
I mean, I was hoping Strzok would I was like, come on, do it. Like, go after Gowdy. I mean, at this point, what the fuck do you got to lose? And just be like, yeah, hey, Trump, you ran that Benghazi investigation for 10 years. How many indictments did you come up with? 0. How many again? 0.
I
Just troll that fucker.
I would go right to the heart of the Trumpsters. Like, everyone in this room, raise your hand if you put your life on the line daily for your country. Oh, just me. Oh, okay. Yeah, I texted some things.
Yeah.
Right. Or as it was, pointed out, like, let's look at Trey Gowdy's phone and text, right? Look, the only reason Strzok got, caught, so to speak, was he was using an FBI-issued phone that's public knowledge, information. I mean, if he'd been using the context of the Lisa Page, the other agent that he was, first of all, they were lovers, but, it's late at night afterwards. I mean, how you talk shit. people talk shit. I mean, and so somehow they're not supposed. It was so laughable that they're supposed to. Oh, you're not supposed to have any personal feelings about this or share them with each other.
And like,
Well, you run into that all the time.
You know what?
Aren't you supposed to be a journalist?
Oh my
like,
God.
yeah, dick.
Well, stop reporting that. No.
But that's the whole.
That's what happened, But just to stop reporting it.
You know, and my biggest question about the entire thing is, was this agent, even at a level where he could do anything about anything?
As he pointed out himself.
Well, he was high up in the investigation. Others were reporting to him. He was reporting
But he
to
was
others.
reporting to many others.
But that is the whole thing. Is the FBI is founded on at least the appearance of non-political law and order, and they have made an institution of checks and balances, of the agents, of the reporting, of the final product, of the people in charge of releasing the final product. All of those things. It's probably our best institution that we have in America, the FBI.
Well, and it's an institution that, and again, if you look, its history is checkered, but coming out of Watergate and out of the Hoover era, it really reformed itself and became, as you were saying, it's become a premier law enforcement, organization worldwide. It's respected. Well, it was. But you've got these tools trying to undermine it. Right. Exactly. I mean,
it's only disrespected by the president.
So
and his followers.
It's not, and that's the thing. I think you got to think that there are career FBI guys that are just fucking pissed because they know that this has been a decades-long project to get the FBI out of that previous reputation of the J. Edgar Hoover era and taping dissidents and shit like that, and get out of that era and move it on to a premier professional law enforcement organization. They've spent their careers and their lives doing that, and then to see Trump and his ilk undermine it so easily, or at least attempt to suit their own political agenda.
Speaking of ilk, where's Giuliani been?
Number one, hopefully not on television.
They left him. They left him in Helsinki.
He's been silent.
Well,
for a couple
I
weeks.
saw a few headlines that were tying him back to Russians that he's still working with.
Oh well, yeah.
So,
of course. Is one of them Trump?
I guess so. You might be able to say that at this point.
It's just this is so bizarre. I mean, we are alive in an amazing time.
Yep. Well, and it's kind of sad because it's like I didn't notice. I kind of had a feeling things were happening and money was taking over and corruption was taking over. I didn't care at a certain point, and that's what I don't know if you guys looked through that voting. I was really looking through, I think it was New York Times did a really in-depth, lots of charts and numbers. I like those type of articles about the voting last time. Mm-hmm. And it's basically the old rich people in this country are the ones who actually vote.
Yep.
So, I mean...
We knew that.
I mean, that is the problem. And why is the message not getting out to the other groups is because there's no messaging. Because in order to gain power, you have to be in the system and take the money. And then once you take the money, you can't obviously go out and say, oh, we got to get rid of the money in politics. So it's this catch-22 that goes on. And if we could all get on board with it,
I still say
topic.
That there's messaging going out there, and it's being largely ignored too.
Yes, absolutely, and that makes it not a good commercial. I mean, I guess if you look at a commercial for Roto-Rooter, you don't need Roto-Rooter. You're not paying attention to that. If you see one for a Big Mac and you're hungry, you're going to pop up and go. So we have to be giving out more candy.
In our youth, we were ignoring a bunch of things that didn't matter to us.
Right.
Which really did matter to us.
Which really did.
It should have. And it's not anything new. Mm-hmm. It's cyclical. Now, what we're seeing is people are actively preying on that.
Yep.
That started in the 60s.
Yeah, Cambridge Analytica is kind of the alpha wolf of all of it, and all you got to do is watch that congressional hearing to just scare the shit out of yourself. That's just
those guys.
Yeah, I mean, just the things that John's doing it right now as we talk. He's leaving a digital trail.
Not right now. Actually, I'm monitoring a Facebook page that I'm responsible for.
Well, I mean, technically, we all are.
Yeah.
Who here has read one of those EULAs? The end user.
I think we're missing a point here. John is, metaphorically cutting his own short sleeve shirt right now
I'm sorry.
in the middle of our show.
I was listening. I have to deal with,
Are the sleeves even?
They look pretty good.
Mine aren't.
No, well, you weren't allowed to cut.
I wasn't allowed.
You abandoned that, which is great.
My wife probably thinks you better.
Oh yeah, you know what? I don't know the amount of shit I would take if I walked in with my homemade T-shirt. Like, we just spent good money on that shirt, and you decided to cut it up. What are you, 12? Like that's exactly what would happen.
This is the visual, but I got this recently because my wife said I was wrecking too many clothes.
Rob is holding up an apron.
I have a kitchen apron for my barn now. I'm not allowed to come out without putting on my apron.
You have a kitchen apron, but only a partial floor. That's the barn.
That's the bar.
Are you free now, John?
I am.
Okay, good. What do you think about what we're talking?
I agree.
I feel like I'm in class again. Can you put down your phone, please? Can you put down your phone, please? You are responsible for this information. I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, that is a.
Where are your notes, Rob?
You don't want to Rob's
You don't want mine.
Like, step one,
It's all a lie.
put tinfoil on head. Step two, cut shirt. You want to see my notes? They're just like little scribbles and pictures I drew while people were talking.
All work and no play makes a...
I'm gonna draw a dragon. Dragon's gonna fight a ninja.
Fighter plane says Rush rules on it.
I wanted to do this publicly because I had a Robspiracy on Amazon Prime Day.
Okay.
Amazon Prime, Bezos' biggest day of the year. I think it's even bigger than his Christmas.
I know where you're going with this.
Was that Trump? Was that sabotage?
And it came out right around the same time that the article said that the word had come out that Bezos is the richest man in America.
the world again. Yeah.
Or in the world, right.
World, yeah.
So wait, I need to get.
All right, Amazon
Okay.
Prime completely crashed like 5 minutes.
Oh, did it?
The Prime
During any of
Day
the deals.
where you get free shipping.
Yeah, or it's just
you
they
always
got all
get free
kinds of
shipping.
crazy
Oh,
deals
right,
and
right.
shipping.
Right.
And it's their big.
What was that,
giveaway
Monday?
day. Monday.
Or Friday? I forgot. Yeah, it was Monday.
And that was the Putin day. I think he was doing Putin.
Not a bad analogy.
And all of this FCC stuff going on, and that is the whole idea about that is throttling, and you got the Time Warner deal with AT&T that the government's all involved in, that Trump's all involved in, that Trump's all tweeting about. All of this is revolving around Trump, and then magically, the richest man in the world can't seem to get servers that work. That just doesn't make sense to me. He knows his traffic from last year. He knows it's going to increase. He has teams of people to put the frickin' servers wherever they need them. All over the world.
And they got it back up within a couple hours. But it was the first two, the prime hours of Prime Day, when everyone's like, ooh.
Well, he works it perfect. It's the perfect. He makes them wait until 3 o'clock. You can't just go on at midnight. No, you have to wait throughout the whole day, talk to your coworkers. It's Prime Day. Everybody is at work. I mean, offices stop for this day. Oh, it's 3 o'clock! Let's go, Amazoning, let's go! They're just running to their devices to go buy things from him. He knows how to do this. It's not his first rodeo. And all of a sudden, after all of the things...
Make this plain for me. What's the conspiracy?
So the conspiracy is Bezos, of course, owns the Washington Post, one of the chief media outlets that's been critical of Trump, and Trump hates the Post. He hates Bezos because Bezos is richer than he is. He's an actual, billionaire. Mm-hmm. So he hates Bezos to begin with on that. So there's two strikes in Trump's mind. And then...
the post office thing, he doesn't want Amazon getting any money from the post office.
Right, so he's been going after Amazon and Bezos. So on this big day for Bezos, and especially when just like days before, I forget if it was Fortune or whoever, put out an article that said Bezos is the richest man in the world.
Yeah.
Richer than Bill Gates, richer than Warren Buffett. Although, it should be pointed out, he's largely richer than they are because they've given away large portions of their fortune to charity. But nonetheless, he's still...
Gonna pack my box.
Yeah, exactly.
And he's, and so, Trump is that kind of a... You just know he's that kind of a little fucking prick.
What about the reverse conspiracy?
And now he's got his people basically running the throttle switches at the FCC. And this is the type of thing that Obama would be doing to North Korea, or we do in Russia, or this is things that we are capable of doing. We try not to do those things until it's in our very best interest, from what I can hear of the NSA, because we don't want retaliation. But you can hear from the NSA that we have this capability to go and disrupt,
of course,
the internet all around the world. We can do it anytime we want. All it needs is one person to order it.
Look, if Richard
Trump order it?
If Richard Nixon, who was a far more principled individual than Donald Trump, but if Richard Nixon had no problem using the IRS and the CIA and the FBI to go after his enemies, do you really think it's beyond the capability or possibility that Trump would use the NSA or some other, to go after his enemies? I don't think it's impossible.
I don't think it was...
I'm not saying it's what happened. I'm just saying it's not impossible.
Yeah. I just thought it was... My wife thought I was crazy. Once again, she probably thinks that a lot. But...
we have a small Facebook group devoted to it.
Yeah.
That was the page I was monitoring.
Is he okay?
It's the intervention Deadpool. We've all got.
No, stand down. That's normal.
In your defense, I'm currently at 12 months. Because we're going to have to actually step in. Everyone else is much sooner.
Okay. So anyway, that's my Rob-spiracy for the week. Is that Donald Trump was behind the Prime Day debacle.
Bezos is behind the Prime Day debacle to gin up support for net neutrality.
Then I'm all for it.
However it worked.
Oh, it's a conspiracy that works for me, and then I like it.
I bought stuff on
I
Prime
thought
Day.
it was a darker page turning myself that these weapons are being used against Americans. I mean,
I've never had
a darker page that I was thinking of.
I don't have any doubt that the NSA could turn off the internet. I mean, I'm talking about the internet, like worldwide, with the flip of a switch if they wanted to. It really doesn't. It wouldn't shock me if they had that capability. I mean, I'm sure they've developed it. It's a weapon. Mm-hmm. I mean, the NSA is an organization. It's a defense organization, but of course their job is to protect, and part of protecting, the best defense is an offense, I guess, if you want to flip that on its head. So I'm sure that have developed those kinds of weapons that they can do it.
And it's on a day where he goes out and does that thing with Putin, so everybody's talking about the Putin thing, and nobody talked about the Amazon thing. Nobody cared. I mean, it was just a glitch.
A kid in his basement. I mean, you could probably shut down Amazon.
I don't know about that.
Maybe not a kid in his basement. Well, maybe that 450-pound guy that
No, we
hacked the DNC.
There's no way we can.
No, I didn't mean to point at you when I said that.
Hey, you, 450-pound slacker. Is there any way?
Hey, code and skills.
Sorry, that was my mistake.
So, what'd you order on Prime Day, fatty? Bonbons?
Prime rib?
It's Prime Rib Day. Going to the old country buffet. Gonna try and give myself an aneurysm on Prime Rib Day.
Oh my God,
such a dick you are.
I'm sorry.
You're like my wife. I'm a failure. And she calls me a failure. You point at me. I'm a 450-pound, loser in a basement.
She meant it well.
I'm a 450-pound loser in a barn. I'll have you know.
Well,
currently.
This is the clubhouse.
That's our other Facebook group.
The clubhouse.
Well-marbled barn dwellers.
All right. So
Awesome
how does this all end?
Join us next week. Same no cry time, same no cry channel to find out.
Okay.
Dun, dun, dun.
Who's in the trap at the end of this week's episode? Manafort's in the trap.
Yeah.
Manafort's in the trap. Cohen's in a trap. Lots of people in traps. Trump's in a trap.
I think Trump is in a trap. I really do.
He's
I mean, we have a mutual friend who had been predicting impeachment by the time of her birthday in May. And I was like, it ain't gonna happen. And then she's like, maybe Christmas. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know that it's. I don't know if it's going to be impeachment. I don't know. There is an endgame though. I don't know that he's going to finish this term. I just don't know.
Not anyone in this country with the self-avowed patriots, the real patriots, the people, the Tea Party, or the military people, everyone in this country. You can't go out and give aid and comfort to your enemy
in plain view,
public, next to them, fighting back the urge to grab their pee-pee package. On live TV, and it have no ramifications.
Right. And he's talking today about another meeting with Putin.
Yeah. Oh, we didn't even talk about the closed door stuff.
Right.
And the tacit agreement so far that Russia's going to get to interrogate a former ambassador.
Our former ambassador, Michael McCall.
What the what?
And
what are you trading for that? Like baklava?
And Bill Browder.
Give me a tray of that yummy baka stuff. Right. You can have McCall.
I mean. It's so again, if you look at like the intelligence community, CIA, NSA, FBI, these trained professionals, career professionals
at the higher ends.
Yeah.
The higher ends of the intelligence.
higher levels. It's higher levels. They're not going to let that happen.
No.
And the thing is, there was a New York Times article this morning. We're recording this on Thursday. New York Times article this morning that said 3 or 2 weeks before his inauguration, Donald Trump was given a detailed briefing that made a definitive case that connected Vladimir Putin personally to the hacking. I mean, and it was with emails and text messages, and it was described as a definitive case of a solid connection between Putin and the hacking. He ordered it. It was done. I mean, so the whole myth that somehow he didn't know, bullshit. And if this was an attack by the leader of a foreign country on our nation, and the fact that he got that even before he was inaugurated, and from the minute he got it, completely has disavowed it.
No collusion.
Is
even big handwritten notes.
It goes beyond collusion. That's a cover up.
Yeah.
I mean, he is covering up something. And what the hell is it? And by the way, that intelligence briefing that he got also included information, according to the New York Times, about a well-placed source near Putin. Now, since then, this jagoff of a president has had closed meetings with the Russian ambassador in the White House. He's had a one-on-one, closed-doors, interpreters-only meeting with the president of Russia. And you have to wonder what information he's given. Is that source still alive? Because, again, Putin's a trained KGB agent. He doesn't have to just say, give me the name of the person. They can figure things out, and we just need one piece of information that seems innocuous to you, but confirms for us.
Don't
and
worry.
Believe me, there's no trial in Moscow.
No.
There's 2 bullets in the back of the head, and you're gone. That's the end of that.
Well, and Putin doesn't mind. Oh, there's 4 that could be. Take them all out.
Yeah, no shit. No shit.
End of story.
Yeah, no shit. So he's doing things that are, it's beyond just, he's eroding our place in the world, or he's, really making us look bad. I mean, he is doing serious, actual damage to our national security.
For his own ego.
How much longer can that go on?
We'll
find out.
How much longer before he sends, his nerve gas over here to kill people? He's already doing it in Europe. I mean, he's taking bold moves.
Didn't you hear? The European Union's an enemy of the people.
Yeah, well, enemy or trade. Our trade, it just can't work. And there's a great article on that, too. I can't remember who did that one. I think it was a New York Times, but on how he's the best negotiator, but he doesn't fucking understand negotiating. Nope. Everything is I win, you lose, I win, you lose, and that's how he goes into these things. And if he doesn't win, he always says that he wins, even if he loses, when in fact there are so many things in play that he doesn't take into account. And that, I mean, your tariffs are one. All of his negotiating skills are so barbaric that it's actually hurting us. Every one of his deals, every single one, hurts us immensely, and the amount of our influence around the world, amount of money going into our pockets, amount of future deals to be had, amount of actually democracy being, spread around the world.
And even as at the very basics, exports.
Which is
We're
a
not
dirty
selling
business.
stuff.
That is a dirty business of the World Bank and us going around the world and putting in infrastructure, and that's a dirty business too. But what it is it's not going into Trump's pocket. So that's the Putin-Trump key, I think.
Here's nothing is
they're just they're just taking the contracts. They're just trying to steal the contracts away from the dirty guys that already have them. But they're stable dirty guys. These are guys that do consult with the NSA and the CIA, and they get vet. They vet their people through those intelligence agencies to go out and rape and pillage for us. But those guys are controllable. And when you put in Trumps and Putins of the world, is when you get the bag over your head and the bullet and the bullet soon after.
No one's wasting the bag, Rob.
Well, they did take right after that.
It's a good bag.
Right after that Steele dossier, there was all kinds of Russian officials. There was one that was very high up. They took him out of the middle of a fucking meeting with a bag over his head, and no one has heard of him since.
Yeah. Oh, there's a bunch of journalists.
It's been a year and a half. No one has heard of him.
Too.
He's dead.
Right. Hey, even Mike Rogers, the former congressman from this district, conservative Republican, as conservative as we've talked about him. Yeah. He was a Bush Republican.
He was towing the Trump line for a while too.
Not really.
Yeah, he was agreeing. He wasn't condemning.
But he came out on Monday after that, and he made a he made a post that was not in any way could be construed as anything but a bitch slap of Trump. Basically just said, when you stand alongside a former KGB officer and disparage our intelligence community, you undermine our global position, weaken our international leadership, and tarnish our values. Those values are central to what we as a country stand for. Here's a short list of those who, inspired by our values, have volunteered to help U.S. intelligence agency, and in doing so, risked their lives for a better Russian future. He names a bunch of KGB colonels and majors and lieutenant colonels, and I looked all these guys up. And it's interesting. They're all from the Cold War. These are guys that were turned by the CIA, but were come to the CIA, and they were all eventually they all got killed. I mean, the KGB, and a lot of them were revealed by, if you remember, the FBI agent Hansen in the 90s, and Aldrich Ames, the CIA officer. Those guys who basically were double agents and for money, not for ideology, and they gave up a lot of these assets. But he also names guys like Boris Nemtsov and Boris Berezovsky, and he goes through a whole list of people. These were journalists and human rights activists under Putin who have died and disappeared and been murdered. And exactly, this is what happens in Putin's Russia. Yeah. You speak up, you die. Yeah. And when it's just, you can't say it when the President of the United States stands next to, I don't care that he's called a president, Putin, he's a dictator. I mean, we know that election's a sham, and frankly now we know our election was a sham. Mm-hmm. And for him to just stand there and again be so obsequious towards him, so beholden to him, so obviously there's no other conclusion that our president is compromised. It's the stuff of a bad novel, and it's our reality.
And to just watch Putin stand there smirking.
Oh God, yeah.
And a KGB officer.
Oh, and as somebody pointed out,
face on the planet.
He was an hour late. He was an hour late to that meeting in Helsinki. He was again, and Putin does this. He's got a reputation for pulling this power play bullshit. He's late everywhere he goes, even for other heads of state. He does this. Mm-hmm. It's a power play bullshit. But it was pointed out, being the hour late that he was, it made it so that when his plane landed in Helsinki, it was right when the big news program in Russia went on the air. And they went, they went carpet to carpet coverage. So, right, boom, here's President Putin's plane landing. Here's President Putin coming off the plane. Here he is getting in the motorcade. Here he is driving to where he's going to meet Trump. Here he is meeting Trump. All that live for...
Here's Trump slabbering.
Right, exactly. And I even saw it yesterday there was a Russian talk show program where one of the hosts said, like, he's got to be one of our agents. They couldn't believe the things that he was saying. They were like, he's got to be one of our agents. They openly said that.
Yeah.
On Russian TV. Even they are going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh, man, those guys are screwed.
Exactly.
We're paying like 19,000 rubles for a loaf of bread, but they're fucked.
And they're doing that walk in England with the Queen, and he's right in front of her. Like, this is my show, and it's this. I mean, that is almost the perp walk of the Queen of England. They do that. That is their thing, and they get that big shot, just like the Russians do, of all the funny helmeted, guards and all that. And here's the Queen. He can't get around him, and he just stands.
He did that shit on purpose.
Yeah, and he did not. I mean,
that was
you did
his
not
dick
see
move.
that. You didn't see that with Putin, though.
See, here's the difference.
It was hands at his side.
He was so like, I am Reek, like you were posting.
Oh, yeah.
Exactly. He's totally I am Reeking with
Tell him your name. I am Reek. But that's interesting. So Trump's dick move is against a 93-year-old woman.
Yeah.
Okay? Who has no real power. Putin's dick move is against the president of the United States and his number one adversary.
If he's complicit.
Yeah.
This is a relationship.
Yeah.
And Trump is straight up, handmaiden's tale to Putin there.
They have the ceremony and
3 paces behind.
Does he get he lay in the lap of the master?
I haven't seen it yet.
Oh, you haven't seen Handmaid's Tale?
I read it.
Oh, okay.
Don't you wish the Queen would have had an umbrella or a cane or something and just whacked him? Just whacked him
like
once.
90-year-old women.
It would have been great.
She probably would have gotten sniped by the Secret Service.
Right. It would have been.
We just killed the Queen.
Oh my God!
I'd be like, we should have done that 250 years ago.
I mean, that's what I had an uncle like that. He was getting old, and he would always do awful things with his cane. And I've always like, well, at least I got that. I'll have a cane or something when I'm 90. I can trip kids or something. It'll be fun.
It'll be fun. Oh God, I could see that.
That's all I'll have left.
Out of the way, young man. Whoa!
You looked at it. That's for Bunker Hill. All right, let's go.
Take it. That's for the Tea Party. What? The real tea? All right, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Did you see the brooch she was wearing? The on-purpose brooch?
No.
Gifted from the Obamas.
Nice.
Oh, that is.
They got
I did
dinner.
not see that. Okay.
Obama's got dinner.
Yeah.
Obama's got dinner?
Yeah.
It's tough to find a McDonald's in London, apparently.
Or KFC's.
Good times. All right, well, we're fucked. Good night.
This song is called Baby Don't You Cry.
I didn't mean to make you cry. I saw those tears come out your eyes. But things don't always go the way you want them to. And I'll do anything to keep being with you. Baby, don't you cry. Don't wanna see until you know that. Baby, don't you cry. Baby, don't you cry. I saw it coming early on. I didn't know what to do, but I knew my love was gone. If you knew I was waiting around to watch you lie to me, if you thought things were okay, then why'd you go?
Find more episodes of The No Cry Zone at thenocryzone.com. Tweet Rob, John, and Dave at No Cry Zone. And find The No Cry Zone on Facebook. Listen to every Abnormal Entertainment show on Google Play, Apple Podcasts, our YouTube channel, or anywhere you find your favorite podcasts. And don't forget to visit abnormalentertainment.com.
You've been listening to the Abnormal Entertainment Network.